Hey, what's up everybody? It's Josh Hall and I have something fun for you. Look what free item came in the mail today. So I'm actually sort of testing out two different things here. I've got the iPhone 12 Pro that I got some weeks ago, and that is actually filming this video. And so we're testing the 4K 24 on this iPhone 12 Pro here. And we're also taking a look at the new Sigma 45mm f2.8 DGDN lens. This is a really interesting lens. I have to be honest. I opened up the package and I was like, boy, it kind of reminds me of my Micro Four Thirds, 12 to 35 millimeter lens that I love on my GH5. Now it's roughly the same width, but when you take the hood off of this guy, it's actually quite a bit shorter than the 12 to 35. This is a very compact lens, and the first thing you notice is that for how small it is, it has quite a bit of heft to it. So this is a very solid metal lens, and even the hood is metal, which is kind of incredible. It's called Contemporary. And then of course the hood is actually ribbed, which is interesting. All in all, aesthetically, I'm not really sure what to think of this lens. But then you put the lens on the camera and it feels so solid. It's just a very solid built lens. It's kind of like a mini tank is what it really is. But I do kind of get these flashbacks to Micro Four Thirds lenses. It really kind of has that feel to it. So as I started using this lens, I immediately started falling in love with it, to be honest with you. It renders foreground and background blur tremendously well. And if you are already a fan of Sigma, then there's going to be a lot, for you to like about this lens. If you don't already own some Sigma lenses and you're not familiar with them, they are making absolutely incredible glass right now. So we do have autofocus right here. And the autofocus is decent. It hunts a little bit. If you're close to a subject, it's significantly harder for it to focus. If the lighting is lower, it's going to be significantly harder to focus.
Now touching the face. There we go. And now we'll touch the mountains. Oh, definitely some hunting there. Now I'm pretty close, so let's back up just a little bit. See if it does a little better when that focus adjust isn't quite as big. Now this is wide open at 2.8. Okay, so now I'm touching the face. Found it. Touch the mountains now. Found it. Okay, so not super fast, but it is an autofocus feature. Although it may not be fast, it is fairly accurate from what I'm being able to see on the screen here.
Again, it's not quite a cinema lens, even though it's ribbed, because the ribs aren't big enough and there's no hard stops on the focus. But that being said, I could definitely see this being a great interviewing lens because you can render just tremendous bokeh and blur behind somebody, even at close distances. So if I'm in a smaller or tighter office space and I want to blur that background out a bit, this will actually give me that. In full frame mode at f2.8 wide open, it is very sharp. And again, the foreground and background blur just renders out so nicely. It really is quite beautiful. And the roll off to the blur is unbelievable. The minimum focus distance on this is also quite stunning. And you could get great product shots with this. You can get great B-roll type shots with this particular lens. And it just renders so nicely. So I was reading some reviews about the lens. And again, I don't care if the lens is crap. I got it for free. So checking it out, I am very, very impressed with how it does in kind of real life scenarios. I love the aesthetic that it lends to the image, but I wanted to take a look at how the edge-to-edge sharpness looks and how the sharpness is in the corners. And so I went ahead and I took a placemat because it's very finely woven, and I'm wanting to see how that renders throughout the entire image, because I did see some reviews that said that it may not be the sharpest corner to corner or edge to edge.
I would assume this might be the sweet spot for this lens. This is at f4. So let's see what the 1000 times crop is on the corners and the edges. Here we are at f5.6. It should be considerably sharper at this point. Let's see what the center and edge to edge or corner to corner sharpness is.
Clearly, the retro styling of the lens shows that it takes inspiration from the vintage lenses of the past, and it delivers great sharpness, it renders bokeh beautifully, and it also has character. One of my issues with some of the Sigma lines of lenses is that, to my eye, they're too clinical. They're too sharp. They're like just looking through like a window. And I really like lenses that have a little bit of character, and this has some of the vintage lens character with all of the modern conveniences of more modern lenses. So I really feel like this lens has a great balance between character and also sharpness on the other end. The compactness of this lens means that it can be taken anywhere. The robustness means that you can rely on it. And I went on to Sigma's website to see if I could find some more of these prime lenses in this series, and I was kind of disappointed that I couldn't find any. So I'm not sure if Sigma is going to release more of these or not. I really hope that they do. Imagine having like a 4 or 5 lens prime lens set of these. I mean, you could carry all 5 of the lenses or all 4 of the lenses in a small compact Pelican case, and you would have an amazing full frame prime lens set. This new Sigma 45mm 2.8 contemporary lens paired with the new Panasonic Lumix S5 to me is a huge win.